workbench today we have an Xbox Series X power supply. Purchased this on eBay as having no power. I'll just bring up the description here. And only paid, including delivery, it was £16 something, I believe. It arrived the other day, so I think what we'll do first is we'll give it a test, multimeter, just to confirm that there isn't any output. So probes in here. In fact, right, we've got 4K near enough and rising, so we don't have any shorts, and it confirms that the leads are connected okay. Now this isn't plugged in yet. I'll plug this in here and we'll plug it in and see what happens. And I'm volts DC and we're getting nothing, so no voltage from there. Yeah, unplugged again. Try here. And before I plug it in, check again. Yep, a few K. Volts DC, plug it in, and we're getting nothing. So it confirms it. I'm unplugged again. So yeah, confirms that there's no power coming out of the supply. So let's get this thing open and have a wee look. So I've got 4 screws on the bottom. Lights turning off here. There we go. Get them out. Right. Now these have got little clips. I'm not sure you'll be able to see them or not. I'm just poking through these holes at this side and another 2 there. And I think these hold it in place as well. So right, that's us out the casing. Metal shielding on the bottom here to make it a bit tricky measuring components, so that's definitely going to have to come off. I mean, I can't even, well, so I could peel that back, I could check the fuse. But yeah, if we get all this out of the way, it'll certainly make it easier. And what we've got, we have a bridge rectifier sitting in there on the heatsink. Diodes or MOSFETs. There's a couple of components there I can't quite see. Again, I'll be able to take measurements for the bottom. Right, so I'm going to heat up the iron. I'm going to take this metal plate off. It looks like it's only connected in 3 places. We'll get that off and we'll get some measuring done. Right, soldering iron's up to temperature. So let's see if we can get these off. It's obviously attached to quite a large heatsink, so it may take a bit. one. Just realised I was out of shot there. Back to that one. Turn the iron up. So that one. Right, give it a shot again. And we're clear. I'm not sure that we are actually. Right, that's that. Took a bit of effort. How easily is this going to peel off? It's definitely stuck down as well. Again, trying to be right. I'm going to just double check, see if I can get the probes into the big capacitor just to make sure it's not holding any voltage. To be honest with you, the fact that the supply didn't power up at all, there's a good chance there's nothing on these, but let's give them a check. So, the meter into shot. And this is a 450 volt cart, this one. And yeah, we've still got 90 volts in there. So I'll just have to make sure I keep my fingers off that. I think that one's reattached itself. It's quite well stuck down. Right. At least now I can get access to the fuse. I'm going to quickly check that first. So meter in continuity mode. And the fuse is here. No, the fuse is intact. Right, okay. Yeah. So I think I may have to try and peel some of this back. What I'm going to do first though is I'm going to discharge the main capacitor. These leads, that's just a couple of high power resistors. Back into voltage mode. Yeah, 6 volts left in there. Right. Let's see if I can get some of this gunk. Right. Well, that took me quite some time to get all that gunk off. So I had a little check of the board. I didn't really expect that there was anything wrong at this side because I was getting was it 380 something volts on the main capacitor, which kind of says the PFC is working fine, and that's controlled by this IC here. And obviously the odds are everything else around it's going to be working. You know, the bridge rectifier and so on was all fine. So I then went on to this side of the circuit, and I was checking around for shorts, and then I got round to this board on the end here, and again checking round it for shorts, wasn't finding anything. So then I decided to have a sort of closer look at the board under the microscope, and here's what I found. You'll see in this corner here we have a diode with a hole in it. Now that connects directly to it's the last pin 16 on this chip. Now I checked the data sheet for the IC, and I had a look at the sort of example typical application circuit diagram. Now it's a Schottky diode. I don't actually have one, an SMD equivalent. Was that SS16? Was it? So I've actually put an order in for that. I've also ordered this IC. I went round and I took some diode measurements with the leads reversed, red probe on ground, and the readings I was getting round the chip all seemed as expected, with the exception of 15 and 16. What's 15? I think that's the VCC, and Can't remember what the other one was now. Give me a wee second, I'll have a look. It was, it's just a winding diode on that pin, and VCC is pin 15. So I've ordered I've ordered the chip as well. It's coming from AliExpress, so that may take a bit of time to arrive. So I'm going to have to sort of pause at the moment until these parts arrive. I mean, I could be lucky, and the only thing that's blown is this diode. These other two diodes here, they're actually reading fine. So yeah, might get lucky. So basically we'll come back to this as soon as these components arrive. I've ordered a multi-pack, various diodes, so there's going to be 10 of them contained in the box. So the first thing I'll do is I'll replace that diode. I'll try and power the supply up, see what happens. If it's still not working, then I'll replace the IC and take it from there, and hopefully that'll be that. I mean, I have went round and checked resistances and such on the resistors round the board. I've checked, like I said, checked all the capacitors. There's no shorts to ground, so everything else does seem fine, and that's the only area where there's any visible damage. Right, so we shall be back. Right, we're back, and the components have arrived from China. Just trying to remember exactly where we were. I think we were just down to the fact that that diode had blown. I couldn't read the markings on that one without having the hole in it. So what I did is I looked at the data sheet, the example circuit for this IC, and it was showing an SS16 in that position, coming from pin, I think it's 16. So that's what I'm going to go with. Only thing is, this was the original one, which is yay big, and the replacement a little bit beefier. It should still fit. Should still be able to solder it on. So let's get that on the board. Make sure we have the orientation right. Let me just try and tack this in using the iron rather than the hot air. Just let me quickly check something. I think I might actually just use the hot air. What I've done is I've pre-tinned the bottoms of the legs here, and it looks, if I put that on its side there, I mean that does line up with the pads, so I think with the hot air it'll solder on from the underside rather than trying to get excess at either end. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Get a little bit of flux. A little bit, it's a bit more than a little bit. Yeah, let's get this switched on. Turn the speed down to about 50%. Should be it. Check with the meter. Clear up some of that flux. So this side should go, I think, here. It does. And this side should go 116. Which it does. Just double check. It's still the same. Right, so I think we're ready for a test. Right, okay, meter, voltage DC, and we're hoping for 12 volts here. Let's just switch this on, plug it in, and see what happens. And yeah, more or less. Slightly short, but we're getting 12 volts. Right. Okay. I think we'll also check, keeping my hands well away. Oh. Check here as well. Here and then here. Yep, same. So we're getting the 12 volts out. Let's now unplug this from the wall, and I'm going to flip it over. And before I do anything else, I'm going to discharge the capacitors. Now, where's my discharge lead? Where's it gone? Yeah, I usually have it near the desk. There we go. It's hanging up here. Here and here. Give it about 10 seconds, I'd imagine that should be enough. Check it. Yeah, we're down to 5 volts. That's fine. Right. Hang that back up. I'm sure I'll forget what it is next time. Right, so that seems to have fixed that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up to the load tester, just to be sure that it's still working under load. So I'll get it back, well, certainly partially back in its case, so it's a bit safer to be working on. We'll give it some further testing. Back in a bit. Okay, we've got it back together enough so that we can start the load testing. Right, it's all hooked up. I just have to plug it in. So I'll do that now. Okay, that's this in. And power this up. So go down to, well, start at 1.6 and let's start. Okay, so 1.6 amps and 11.95 volts. Chances are the voltage will drop slightly as I go up. There'll be a bit of loss through the wires. These will probably get a little warm as well. Right, so let's gradually step up the amp draw. Fan kicking in. Now I can only go up to probably around about the 140 watt-ish with this. So that's about the maximum. This is at 10.6 amps. I'm still getting 11.78 volts. 150 watt I think is the maximum, so that's as far as I'm going to take that. As you can see, 11.74 volts, it's nice and steady. So what I'll do is I'm going to leave that running for a while, just to make sure it remains nice and stable. And I'll probably check with a thermal camera, make sure there's nothing hot in the area, especially the area where that diode had failed. And we'll be back after that. Right, we're back. I ran the load test for about an hour, and absolutely no problems at all. Now it was sitting at 12.6 amps, I believe it was. I'm actually going to get a more powerful tester. I've been looking at one that's, I believe, 400 watts. That would be better. Obviously be able to up the amperage during the test. But still good enough. Still very confident that this wouldn't have any issues inside a Series X. And the only issue that was found was this little Schottky diode had a hole in it. Basically that was it, and that took out the supply. So yeah, back up and running, all working. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, then please do subscribe to the channel, it's appreciated. And if you click the bell notification icon, you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. But thanks very much for watching. Cheers.